Hello, welcome to the second video in my series. Today I'm going to talk about an important topic. If you're somebody with a 10 years or a 15 years experience in IT industry, you would have come across this question. I'm a 15 plus years experienced IT professional. Where do I go next? What should I do? From where would my next career path come up? So the answer is look inside. Yes, you have to look inside to get to know what would be your next call coming from, where you should proceed, and how you can look into the next part of your career. Before I jump into the discussion about the trends, let me just take a pause and explain you how the pyramid works. If we look at the pyramid of the IT professionals, they were the early adopters who came in during the 80s and the early 90s. These folks were the ones who started off adapting to the new ways of computing, learning the computers, and making the basic programs which were useful to all the companies spread across the world, particularly in USA and Europe. Then the boom started, the web boom, the dot com boom started, then the Y2K uh, problem came up. That was a time when most of the demand came in to rewrite all the programs. That was a time when a lot of engineering colleges started churning out engineers, and there was a demand for any engineer to get into the computer field. So, once the Y2K boom and the demand died down, the young guns started coming after 2005 or 2010. So, there are three set of people: the early adopters, the Y2K, and the young guns. The early adapters are the ones who you would see today as a vice president, CIO, CTOs in a lot of the companies. The Y2K people are the one who are in the senior or the middle management layer, but most of the work today happens from the young guns who have joined the industry after 2005 or 2010. The bulk of the work is actually happening from the young guns who are between 5 to 10 years of experience. So we all fit into the Y2K bracket wherein we are in the senior or the middle management, but we don't know where to go and what to do next. Now, the trend one is we have to really be good at what we do because the trend is changing. And today, the entrepreneurship is in the air, and the hype is all about somebody being successful even before they hit their 40s. So, even for the CIO or a CTO roles in a lot of the corner office in the startups, they are preferring somebody who is below 40. So, if I have to put it in the Gartner model, I would say the IT industry is in the zone of an inflated expectations. They want the lesser experienced folks to deliver most of the things without having much knowledge on the subjects which they are going to work upon. So, you would see they would expect a project manager who is between 5 to 7 years experience. They expect an maybe an good developer between 3 to 5 years experience, and so on. But the reality is you need to put in certain amount of time, the certain amount of years before you can do architecture, before you can do some uh, customer facing roles and managing the companies. But today the trend is changing. They want everyone to be below 40, right from the corner office to all the ranks of the company. The second is, as long as the job role is not growing as per our salary and the salary expectations, we become too costly for it. So, if I have to take the situation of somebody from in India working abroad, it's for it's becoming hard for them to get back to India. The kids are growing up, they are getting accustomed to the new way of living because they have never lived in India before. They would have cultural adjustment issues if we want to get back to India, and so on. The folks who are working in India, these folks are in a dilemma: how much to save if I have to move over to a new career? How much more should I work? Can I work in IT? Should I look at non IT, and so on? So the Y2Ks again have a problem here because they are primarily doing senior or middle management, and they are not able to crack into the CIO, CTO kind of a role, because that's either taken up by an early adopter or taken up by somebody who is below 40, and who's ready to burn the midnight oil for any startups or the entrepreneurship ventures they are doing. Now, what could be the next step? The next step is use the 10, 15, 20 years of IT experience into a non IT sector, because I am just throwing my own random statistics here. I would say a lot of the people who are between the 15 to 25 years bracket in the IT industry are starting out on their own. The sectors which are picking up can be an startup related to IT, but there are a lot of people who are picking up startups or solving problems related to non-IT sector also. So you could see a lot of folks starting out preschools. They are doing training on various topics. They are doing mentoring for the startups. Quite a amount of folks are venturing out into organic farming. They are trying to address the food supply chain issues. A good amount of people have went into the retail segment because the margins are good and the industry just keeps on expanding year on year. A good adventurous ones have gone into the construction, real estate, restaurant. So there are a lot of avenues to look upon, and the IT knowledge and the IT know-how will be an winner, because you start with a very good understanding of the technology automation, and you know how to solve the problems related to a non-IT sector using the automation techniques which you would have mastered over the last 15 to 20 years. So the next step, what we have to focus upon is making ourselves debt free as much as possible. So if you're planning to buy that second home, or if you're planning to buy and upgrade and take a second car for yourself, please postpone all the major spendings. Focus on reducing the debt, because uh, the lesser depth you have, more freedom to experiment. You would have more choices to experiment. And if you create secondary income streams, like having a fixed deposit, a mutual fund generating revenue for you, or an annuity schemes generating revenue for you, make sure that you fund your basic needs using your secondary income streams. Don't live by payslip to payslip, because the next 10 to 15 years, if you have to go out, experiment on your own, you would need a debt free on your side, so that you can go out and experiment, take some calculated risk, and still be able to run your family, you pay the bills, make sure that your lifestyle doesn't have much of a beating being taken out. So in order to do that, start working on how do you make yourself debt free and postpone your major spendings, and that will give you some options to experiment. Lastly, I would say make self care as a priority. And healthy body is much necessary for giving an healthy living for the next 20 to 30 years to come. Maintain a positive mindset, and don't think that if you're not getting your next job in an IT career, it's an end of the road. You can always look out. There are a lot more sectors available apart from IT, and carve out a time, make a network outside of your IT to get new perspectives. And obviously, the solutions can be developed using your IT expertise. There are in need of such expertise outside of IT world also. So, with this, I would like to end this video, and do send in your comments on the email ID, and please like, share, and subscribe this channel, and hit the bell icon. Looking forward to hear from you. Thank you.